Michael Dell is encountering some stiff opposition to his plans to take his company private for $24 billion. One of his major shareholders, Southeastern, has come out with a plan saying, look, this thing's actually worth $42 billion. Great deal for shareholders, it would seem, if they followed him. But Rob, from what you're saying, Southeastern's guys might have a nice idea, but that's maybe as far as it goes.
Yeah, Dell's shares were trading about 25% below the offer price, which Southeastern thinks is 75% below. So in other words, they were trading way below that. And investors simply didn't think Dell was worth that much. Perhaps investors were a bit too skeptical.
Right.
I mean, obviously Michael Dell has a huge chunk in the company, and he wouldn't be taking it. He knows the company very well. He would not be taking this thing private unless he thought the company is worth more.
Yeah, he certainly thinks he can get more value out of this company, right? I mean, you don't take.
So I mean, one of the ways we looked at this was to say it looks like there will be free cash flow from this company next year, or this year sort of just begun, of $2 billion or more. Now the total, even after paying for the interest on the new debt that they're planning to raise, so the equity, the new equity, if you like, after this deal is about $6 billion.
So that's a 1/3 return a year.
1/3 return a year, which is pretty chunky. But then you have this problem. Southeastern is almost certainly right that this is cheap, but it's still a lot more than the company was trading for. Investors have, and it's not like in this case there's a whole plan that Michael Dell has, which he hasn't shared with anyone, that it's kind of secret.
He's coming up with the same ideas.
The thing is, the company's already been returning a lot of cash to shareholders. They returned about $2 billion a year over the past 2 years, so $4 billion over 2 years. In terms of buybacks, dividends, investors just don't care because the company...
There's clearly value to this company. Everyone thinks there's value, but what is it that investors are missing from Dell's perspective?
Well, the problem is, you've got two different viewpoints. I mean, what do you think when you think of Dell? You think of PCs, and that's a business which is simply, vanishing right now. It's shrinking very rapidly. The problem, of course, is that investors are saying, okay, you've got lots of nice cash flow today, but will you have it tomorrow?
Yeah.
And obviously some smart investors, such as Dell and Silver Lake, have come in and said, well, you know what? Even if it make a few years of this cash flow, we're perfectly fine.
Right.
And the other part is that Dell's other businesses are doing pretty well. The company's bought a bunch of other businesses, about $11 billion worth of businesses. So, that have very good cash flow. And these businesses are not going, in fact, they're growing.
And none of this is, shareholders obviously, as you were saying, have paid not enough attention to this from Dell's perspective.
Exactly. The problem is, that investors look at it and say, okay, well, they're paying cash, they don't want it, and they're too scared.
Well, clearly not enough of them agree with Southeastern on the price.
Exactly. So let's put this in perspective. So Southeastern has 8.5% of the company. Another few shareholders with 3.3% have come in. What's the number we're looking at for a vote to go in their favour, for example?
Well, I mean, Dell is not voting, and he has round about 15%. So you've got to have 43% of shareholders or something probably to vote against to get half the non-Dell.
They've got a quarter of that, but then again...
The problem about ARBs own about a quarter of the stock, we don't really know, but
and they just
probably
want a good payout.
They want more than they paid in. So the thing is, a lot of them came in when the stock was worth about, $14, whatever. The problem is that if the vote disappears, no one else is going to buy this company, and so the stock's probably going to drop, and the ARBs would be looking at a loss.
Okay, well, thanks, Rob. Thanks, Richard. We'll keep an eye on that. Maybe there's a chance for a slight increase in price, but it looks like Southeastern could be on a hiding to nothing. But stay with us. We'll be back with more Breaking Views tomorrow.